All right, welcome back to another session of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I am Mike November Whiskey coming to you from Melbourne International Airport, where we are cold and dark, and we are doing a rare nighttime flight. I would say rare because I actually have the day off from work, and I'm doing a daytime stream here from the East Coast of the United States. And since we're doing everything real time, that just happens to be, I guess, about 20 to 5 in the morning, Melbourne time. We may get a sunrise on the way out, which would be really nice, but we're unlikely to have VATSIM coverage tonight, although we are connected to the VATSIM network. But we'll go ahead and try to do a real ops flight to the best of our ability in our Qantas 9084 livery. Without further ado, let's hop into the cockpit where we are cold and dark, getting everything started from scratch. Battery 1, battery 2, and activate external power and get some cabin lights on. We haven't needed to use that in a while. Get some of our integrated lights on, make everything look nice and bright. Nav and logo lights to let the folks on the ground know that we're here. Crew supply on, ground control on, and start aligning our IRSs. Next we'll do our fire tests, so we can start up the APU, which will allow us to start boarding, since that will take quite a long time. We are in the experimental build of the A320 tonight, which means we do have the latest sound packs that will make the flight seem a little bit less lonely. It includes ambient sounds of the passengers, as well as crew announcements that have been pre-recorded and included that will automatically activate at various parts of the flights. So we'll get to enjoy some of those. Let's turn on no smoking sign and emergency lights. Let's arm those. We'll keep seatbelt signs off, and we'll keep fuel pumps off, since we do have some fuel to load tonight. Alright, that looks good for the overhead for now. We'll wait for the APU to start spooling up. Oh no, we actually haven't started the APU yet. Haha, master APU on. 1, 2, 3, and start. And once that is up and running, we'll get passengers loaded. But in the meantime, we'll continue our initial flows, get the cockpit the way we like. We don't need to actually increase the brightness on these too much, since we will be flying at night, just maybe a touch. Make sure we are on proper QNH, and set up the glare shield. Turn off the flight director here. We'll get these screens off, since we won't need them, and we save a bit on frames, I believe, by actually turning those off. Alright, just changing some of my graphics card settings real quick. Okay, and then there, we also want to adjust the lighting here. Make sure we can see that in the dark, nice and bright, because we'll turn off that overhead when we take off. Continuing through the cockpit prep, time looks correct. It is 1742 UTC, or Zulu. Anti-skid is on, landing gears indicating down, levers down. We have brake pressure. Let's get these screens a bit brighter. And it looks like APU is available, so we'll take a quick break. We'll get the APU bleed on to power those packs, get the air circulating in the cabin, and we'll go ahead and get folks boarded. Let's see, we have 140 passengers tonight, and let's go ahead and get that started. Okay. Continuing with the checks here, we have cockpit oxygen pressure, we have oil quantity, that looks good, and hydraulic fluid. Got tons, don't need to worry about any of that. And our throttle is functional and in the idle position. We are on Unicom for now, unless ATC decides to come online. And our weather system and predictive wind shear system is off, engine masters are off, engine mode is set to normal. We'll be squawking, I think, 7,000. Unless we get coverage. ATC is on standby, and TCAS is on standby. That looks good. Going down the panel, ground spoilers are disarmed and retracted, flaps are up. Rudder trim is set to 0, parking brakes engaged, cockpit doors unlocked. That all looks fine. And let's get some more integrated lighting on. I think that controls this upper panel too. Yes, it does. Perfect. So that's all set. Let's take a closer look at our flight plan and weather today. Starting with the weather. Just getting my notepad here. Get our information from SimBrief. Uh-oh, there we go. For a second I thought we weren't going to have that. All right, so looking at, let me get a new fresh page here. Looking at Melbourne ATIS, or the METAR rather, because we don't have an ATIS. The information is current, 1700 hours, and winds are 260 at 5 knots. Visibility is good. Clouds, a few at 1800, broken at 6300, broken at 24,000. So pretty high ceiling, but not completely overcast. Weather is 16, dew point 15, and QNH is 1017. So we'll go ahead and get that programmed in. I'm using my Logitech radio panels to control my QNH. 1017, that is set. Great. All right, let's take a look at the operating flight plan. Make sure everything here looks good. We are in Melbourne. We are heading to Sydney today. Our alternate is Yankee Sierra Charlie Bravo, which is somewhere south of Sydney. I'm not actually sure what airport that is, but we can check it out later if we have some time. We are Qantas 984 tonight. Cost index is 15. Cruise flight level is 190. How interesting is that? Pretty low cruise, probably because it's a very short flight, although we're showing an hour and 20 minutes. I'm very curious why our cruise is so low. In any case, the triple pause is also relatively low. Trip wind, we have a tailwind of 6 knots, which will give us some help. No remarks, nothing that indicates why it'd be flight level 19,000. Might be a step climb, so we'll take a closer look. Oh, actually, yes, no, we are going to go to flight level 390, so it must be a step climb. We'll be clear to 19,000. Out of the gate. So I had actually, I think this would be wrong. Like when we set up the box, we'll put in our ultimate cruise level. Looks like we are on runway 34 tonight, and if winds are out at 260, it's a bit of a crosswind, but not too bad since the winds are relatively light. We'll be flying the Sunti 3 departure, which will take us past the Melbourne downtown. So we'll try to keep our altitude nice and low so we can get some nice shots of the scenery there. All right. And yeah, we'll worry about our approach when we're in the air because we'll have some time up there. Looking at fuel next. We have a block fuel of 6,000 pounds, or 6,000 kilograms rather. So that looks fine. Let's just check the weather at our destination to see if there's any reason to take it a little bit more. So in Sydney, right now this information is also current. Light winds, good visibility, light rain. But let's see, light showers and rain. So there's going to be some precipitation in the area, but nothing looks awful. And it looks like it will get heavier over time, but we should get there before that happens. So I'm fine with this fuel recommendation. We'll go ahead and put 6,028 in here. And start refueling. Excellent. Next up, let's just review those step climbs. So, looks like by the end of the SID, we'll be at 19,000. Then we'll do another climb. We'll be at 22,800 by Milla, and then our final altitude at Snowy. Okay, we'll just keep our eye on that. All right, next up, let's get some charts loaded up. So looking for the airport info plates here. And we are at stand Echo 7 tonight, and we'll figure out how to get to our runway 34 for departure. Standard instrument departure, what was it? So the Sunti 1 or the Sunti 3? That's right there, Sunti 3. Take a quick look at this. So the Sunti 3 from runway 34. Track 340 to Rockdale, turn right to Porham, and then another hard turn to Geddon, past downtown, Pebble, off to Sunti. Looks like our initial climb out is going to be 5,000, so we'll get that in the box. Or on the FMC rather. Good, no unusual speed restrictions. They want us at 10,000 by Geddon, but you know what? Let's stay at 5,000 until we get a good view of downtown. no one's around to kind of get us in trouble, and I want to see the scenery at night. So good, we'll do that. And then I guess once we pass Melbourne downtown, we'll then clear ourselves to the initial 19,000. All right, so let's also prep a approach plates for Melbourne in case of an emergency. We'll use this as our emergency procedure on takeoff, and we'll brief that in a sec. Runway 34. Oh, there's no ILS. That's unfortunate. All right, so we'll leverage this missed approach procedure, and hopefully we won't have to come back to runway 34. One day we'll have VNAV in the fly-by-wire, but not quite yet. All right, so we have our charts all set. We have our initial altitude. We've briefed the departure. We're still definitely boarding. So we'll take this opportunity then to brief our emergency procedures real quick. I'm going to try to do this from memory since I've been trying to do this better each time. So let's see how we do. So if there are any issues on taxi to the runway, I'll bring the airplane to a complete stop. We'll clear any ECAM messages and notify ATC if available. We'll then make a call whether to return to the gate or to continue to the runway. On takeoff roll below V1 or 100 knots, if there is an issue, I will call out stop or go. If I call stop, I'll bring the airplane to a complete stop on the tarmac. I'll clear any ECAM messages and notify ATC of our issue. If we need to evacuate, we'll follow the evacuation checklist and we'll make a decision, if able, to return to the gate or retry departure. If after V1 there is any issue, we will commit to the takeoff. We'll take no actions until 400 feet AGL, except for silencing any oral warnings, and gear up. We'll then clear any ECAM messages, notify ATC of our issue, and we'll fly the missed approach procedure as specified by the runway 34 approach plate. So we'll track direct to MMLSH, that's 340 degrees, and climb to 4,000 as directed by ATC. At that point, we will decide whether to return to the airport or continue along our way. Not too bad. I didn't address in and out specifically, but I'll study that further and maybe add that to the brief. All right, so, okay, what else can we do? So I want to actually do a manual McDo setup tonight, and that will definitely take enough time to get the rest of boarding complete. So going to our data page, let's just check our IRSs are on nav. They are aligned. And, oh no, we did not update for the latest AirX cycle. And you know what, it may be too late now. I'm going to run my Navigraph updater. And it won't be reflected in the sim until we restart. So we'll just you know, assume that there aren't any changes between Sydney and Melbourne for this latest AirX cycle. But for the next time we do one of these, we'll have the latest loaded. So we're just updating that now. And the sim has been updated, but yeah, I don't think it'll be reflected until... yeah, it won't be reflected until we reload the sim. Okay, so starting with init 1. Since I want to do this manually, otherwise we could do init requests, but just for a little bit of fun and practice, we are at Melbourne, and we are heading to Sydney. Sure. And actually, let's... our flight number we know is QFA, Quebec Foxtrot Alpha, 9084. I recall our cost index is 1.5, and we know our cruise level is 390. And tropopause, that looks close, but let's just get the one from the flight plan, 36892. 36892. And here we go. And alternates, we want Yankee Sierra Charlie Bravo. So Yankee Sierra Charlie Bravo. Alright, init 1 complete, init A complete. Flight plan, let's go ahead and we'll pull up Navigraph. We'll do it from here. And this is where we'll see if we get any issues with an older ARAC cycle, because the Navigraph is based on the latest. So departure, we'll throw in runway 34 and the Sunti 3. There it is.
Boarding completed.
Oh, boarding's completed. That scares me every time. Insert. Alright, and let's see that, make sure that looks good. Rockdale, Porum, get in. Pebble, Sunti, that all looks correct from the previous. And then let's see how the flight plan has these waypoints, if we have any. Yeah, so from Sunti, we are doing a
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, on behalf of myself, your captain, the first officer,
a route.
Crew, I'd like to take this time to welcome you aboard our flight. We're just wrapping up some paperwork up front here and waiting to see final numbers from the ground crew, then we'll be on our way. Flight attendants will be coming through the cabin shortly with a very important safety briefing. We do ask that you give them your full, undivided attention as they review the safety operations of this Airbus aircraft. We do appreciate your business having you aboard this flight. If there's anything we do to make your flight any more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask. Welcome aboard.
Whiskey 468 to Onangi. And then a direct to Mila. Oh, we'll go ahead and insert that. Direct to Mila. And then direct to Snowy. Oh. And then direct to Daily. Direct to Nerig. Direct to Raisin. And what I'm doing here, I'm just selecting the closest one since I know we're not going 8,500 nautical miles, so I know that's the one near Sydney. Direct to Nasho. Direct to Ancub. And we don't have an assigned star on the flight plan. We'll take a look at what approaches are available when we get closer. So I'll leave that discontinuity in place right now since we don't know what we're doing past Ancub for now. Alright, so final check. Just want to look at the plan. And since we're starting at Ancub, we'll go backwards from there. And just make sure everything looks good. Yep. Looks pretty good to me. Alright, great. So next up are rad navs. Let's take a look at our SID chart. See if there's any rad navs we'd want to program in. And nothing from the SID, but I do believe on the misapproach we'll want to track Melbourne VOR in case there are any issues. And while we're here, we'll go back to our flight plan. We'll add a fix for Mike Lima Sierra Hotel, which is our waypoint. And we'll want to fly 340 degrees from there. That'll be our radial. And that should be fine. So let's see. If we zoom out here, we should see that radial extending from it. So that's our track for any issues on takeoff. Alright, good, making progress. So our rad navs are set, and we'll just go ahead and turn that on now so we don't forget. All right. After that, oh, we don't have fuel information yet, so let's go to init B. We'll do weights and balance here. 57 tons. That matches zero fuel weight up 57.1. So it's a little off, maybe a rounding thing. Just for precision, I'll go ahead and put. Let's get that in there, and then I'll just do 57.1 to replace that first value. There we go. Fuel, we are done with fueling, so we have a block fuel of 6 tons. And a tailwind of 6 knots, if I recall. I'll just double check. Yes, tailwind of 6 knots. So let's get in the rest of our fuel information from the flight plan. So we have a contingency of, we'll round up to 0.6, then 1.3 and 1 for final reserve. So 0.6, 1.3 for alternate, and 1 for final reserve, leaving us with 10 minutes of extra fuel. That is fine by me. All right, everything else looks good there. Fuel prediction, we'll want this for our flex calculations, which we'll do next. All right, so yes, last thing is takeoff performance. So I have an Excel-based performance calculator, which I'm hoping to retire once EasyJet flight sim, Gavin, who runs that channel, is releasing a new calculator for the fly-by-wire, which I'm really excited about. But for now, we will use this somewhat imperfect Excel just for continuous practice. So looking at the runway information, which is a part of the performance calculation, runway 34 is at a bearing of 340. Elevation is on average-ish. It slopes up quite a bit, about 100 feet. So let's say 480 on average. The length in meters is 3657, nice and long. And wind, what did we say tonight? 260 at 5. So nice and light. And outside air temperature is 16 degrees. The QNH is 1017. Runway conditions are currently dry. Takeoff weights is 63 tons. We're in configuration 1. We'll have the packs off. No anti-ice is needed. And that center of gravity number, what was that? 25.2. And there we have our flex calculations. So, taking into account weather and runway characteristics, we have a flex temp of 67 degrees. And we will be in a configuration 1 and trim up 0.7. The elevator trim there. And transition altitude, of course, didn't load because we didn't sync the sim brief, I believe. But let's just double check here. 10,000 feet, nice and standard. And the thrust reduction and acceleration altitude in and out. Acceleration altitude look fine because we are about 300-ish feet above sea level. So V speeds per the calculator, 148 is decision speed. 149 is our rotation speed. And 150 is single engine takeoff speed. That's it. I think we're good. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready for pushback. We'll get the tug attached.
Cockpit to ground. This is ground. Stand by.
Exterior power off since we're on APU. Pumps on. And seatbelts on. Yep, and ground services are clearing away.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed. The parking brakes are set. You may lift. Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft. Standing by for pushback.
All right, they are standing by. Let's go ahead and do our before start checklist. So cockpit prep is complete. Fuel is set. Gear pins and covers are removed. Signs are an on or auto. So we are looking good all there. The IRSs are on nav. Fuel quantity is set. Takeoff data is set. Barrel ref is set. Before start checklist to the line complete. And at this point we would get our push clearance, but since no ATC is online, and let's just double check, no ATC is online, still on Unicom. Alright. Then we'll go down to below the line. So before start checklist, below the line, windows and doors are closed. The beacon is coming on. Thrust levers are on idle. Parking brake.
Arm doors and cross check.
Nice. Parking brake is as required, and before start checklist is complete. So let's go ahead and push this baby back.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push. Parking brake set.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Once again, we'd like to welcome you on board.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
Alright, set engine mode to ignition. Run the clock. Run the chrono. Engine 2, start.
Please keep your seatbelt fastened low and tight across your lap, even when the seatbelt sign is off, and have it visible to the crew at all times. Your light.
Let's watch for our pushback.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Alright, engine 1, start.
Parking brake set. Lowering aircraft.
Ground. You may disconnect.
Okay, sir. Cleared to disconnect. Pin has been removed. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
Alright, so here we are at Echo 7. We will take uniform, which is directly ahead of us, bang a left on Victor, and then a right on Juliet. Oh no, actually, no. We want to get more runway than that. So, actually, let's taxi via Alpha all the way down to Kilo. Make it even simpler. So I'm going to assume that's Alpha on that left turn there. We'll just keep an eye, not to pass... it might be beyond this grassy area here, so there's 2. Okay, so we'll keep an eye out for Alpha. Let's get ourselves ready for taxi. That all looks fine for now. Engine, we're still waiting for that second good engine start. Getting a little ahead of myself. Alright, 2 good engine starts. We'll get that APU bleed and APU off. And engine mode back to normal. So after start checklist, anti-ice as required, ECAM status checked. Pitch trim is set to 0. Oh, sorry, it's set to up 0.7, so we actually need to still do that. Up to 0.7. And rudder trim is set to 0. That's already confirmed. So at this point, we'll just do our quick flight control check. So full left, full right, and neutral. Full down, full up, and neutral. Nose wheel disconnect on the rudder, rudder left, rudder right, and neutral. Okay. What else do we need to do? We need to do flap setting for takeoff, flaps 1, arm the ground spoilers, and go ahead and get our weather systems on now so we don't have to worry about it during taxi. We'll set ATC to auto, and we'll wait on TCAS. We'll go ahead and lock this door now. Probably should have done it before. That's fine. All right, at this point we would request clearance for taxi, but I think we're all set there. So we'll just go ahead and get taxi underway. All right, parking brake is off. Give a little bit of thrust. And we're rolling. I'll reset the chrono. So right now I'm using the rudders to steer because we don't need too much deflection. I got about 6 degrees of turn. And this will be alpha coming up. So slow down. And we'll follow that line. Now I'm using the tiller, which gives you much more deflection. You do almost 90-degree turns with it. And great, we are on alpha, and we will roll down alpha to kilo all the way to the runway. Making sure my seat settings are still good. And as we roll down, I'll just use the rudders to keep us on the straight line. Have much finer control with the rudders now that the tiller feature has been introduced. Alright, we'll set our auto brake to max.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Do our takeoff configuration test. Kind of seems like this taxiway is kind of bumpy the way that the airplane is bobbing up and down. We are also doing a high-speed taxi. You would normally need approval for that, so we'll just drop below 30 knots. Why are we bouncing like that? It's so weird. We'd love to know if Melbourne's actually like this. Alright, coming up on what I assume is kilo. Let's see. Yes, kilo, perfect. So we'll go ahead and follow the taxiway to the right. And we'll hold short and do our before takeoff checklist. We'll do to the line right now. So flight instruments are checked, flight controls are checked, briefing is confirmed. Flap settings are set, V speeds and flex temp are set. ATC is set, ECAM memo no blue. Before takeoff checklist to the line. Oh, so it looks like I cheated us out of a little bit of runway. It's kind of hard to see at night. Oh no, this is actually fine. So we'll hold short here and do the rest of our pre-takeoff checks here. So we'll get ATC to on, TCAS to TARA. We'll get our takeoff lights set, and we'll turn our packs off. And before takeoff checklist below the line, takeoff runway is confirmed. Cabin crew is notified. TCAS set to TARA. Engine mode is set to normal and packs are off before takeoff checklist complete. We are still on Unicom, so we'll go ahead and give our call. Melbourne traffic, Qantas 9084, taking off runway 34, Melbourne traffic. All right, we'll get those. Oh. Overheads off. And last time using the tiller. That's pretty. Love runways at night. Alright, and once that line crosses... Oh, just ran out of energy. There's definitely some sloping going on at this airport. Yeah, we're like on an uphill here. Nice and gentle, don't want to overpower it. Alright. Take off. And 1 to 50%. Chrono. Where's the chrono button? There we go. Stable. Man flex SRS. Why does it look like there's an airplane there? V1, rotate. Positive rate gear up. Melbourne traffic, Qantas 9084, traffic in sight, but no factor. Melbourne traffic. Thrust climb. Yeah, there's definitely another plane right here. Still hand flying. Allowing the plane to speed up a bit. Spoilers disarmed. Speed check, the flaps up. And let's turn those packs on before we forget. And as we approach initial climb out, we'll engage the autopilot. Autopilot is engaged. Now I want to look at who just flew in to Melbourne, because that was, I mean, I said no factor, but come on, that was pretty, if real world, that was very dangerous. I announced my takeoff, runway 34. Yeah. That was a Boeing 738. Those nose lights off. Strobes to on. Alright, we're on our way. We'll hold at 5,000 feet until we get clear of the city so we can enjoy some sights. Hey Ivan, welcome back. Yes, I am flying the Qantas livery. Can't really see it at night, but it's there. I promise you. I had the day off from work, so we're doing a daytime stream today. Daytime US, that is. I am trying to get the AIG traffic manager to work, but I'm getting this annoying error for file system character limits, which I have disabled in Windows, so there are no character limits on my instance of Windows, but the manager just doesn't want to accept that, and it makes downloading liveries for model matching really painful. So I do want to explore other liveries. I just don't really have the patience to download them one by one. So we'll be in the Qantas one until we leave Aussie. So we're coming around. And Metro Melbourne is coming into view. Let's see if we can see our friend who we nearly had a head-on collision with from the tarmac. Although we're pretty far from the airport at this point, but yeah. He's on VATSIM but not making Unicom calls. And we are on Unicom, so we definitely did it right. Yeah, my audio settings look fine. Yeah, he definitely should have heard us. So I was mentioning last time that Melbourne is special to me only because one of the YouTubers that I follow, a man named Steph Drury, he flies an SR-22. He's based in Melbourne out of Moorabbin Airport and has been really inspiring to me on my own kind of personal aviation journey. I know that I want to train in a Cirrus. There's a great Cirrus school not too far from where I live. It's now just really a function of finding a sustained period of time to go after the PPL. But yeah, no, I owe a lot of thanks to Steph Drury for kind of nurturing my passion for aviation through his YouTube channel. And if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. So I think downtown will be to our right, although we are flying into some clouds. That might obscure the joy of the departure. Let's see. Yep, definitely passing through some clouds. You can see the landing lights reflecting off it as we fly through them. Will we get lucky? Unclear. Some sports fields down below. I think I see a bridge there. Oh man, friggin' weather. Oh, that's cool. Are we getting to a clearing? Oh yeah, there's downtown. All right. Oh, thank goodness. That would have been disappointing. Wow. This looks really good. This is really impressive. We've done quite a bit of night flying, but I don't recall it ever being so, like, crisp. I'm also looking for Moorabbin Airport, which should be somewhere in the distance over here. Wave to Steph on the way, but we'll definitely get some quick snaps of downtown Melbourne. Super cool. Guessing that's that's maybe like a rugby field. Is that what that is? Nice. All right. So that was nice. Let's go ahead and clear ourselves up to 19,000. And we'll continue along our way. Thrust climb up and climb. And let's check our flight plan. So we'll be at 19,000 Intl. Until Onagi. At Onagi, we'll continue our climb. And we'll clear ourselves to 39,000 at that point. Alright, we turn off the VOR at this point. We'll just take a moment to clear the RadNav. Check the flight plan. We are looking at an arrival of 5 past the hour. Well, an hour and a half from now. But that should, like, we're still 250 knots, so that'll definitely come down quite a bit. I'm expecting about an hour in the air at this point. Quite nice. Alright, passing 10,000, so we'll... Oh, I keep doing the wrong one. We'll go to standard QNH, retract those landing lights, set this to airport, and increase the range. Alright, there's Sunti and Onagi. That's where we'll get ourselves higher. I did want to test something. I want to see if I put my strobes to auto, what would happen. And the strobes stay on. Yeah, I had a feeling that would be the case. And the reason why I tested that is I was recently on a flight and I felt like the strobe was off until we began our descent and approach. So we'll check again when we get to cruise. But I'm curious if the strobe stays on the whole time, or if it comes off at a certain part during the flight. Get ready to see sun over the horizon, and we'll be flying northeasterly. So we'll get the sunrise rather full frontal if we're lucky. I do want to check if there are other planes to be aware of on our way to Sydney today. It was really just kind of dumb luck that we took off from Melbourne just as another plane was using the opposite runway to land this late at night. There is another plane heading to Sydney from Los Angeles. So they've been flying all night. But they'll get there well before us. Let's see if there's any other scheduled flights. Quite a few. Quite a few that are already in the air that departed from Sydney. There's another flight from Indonesia en route. But we'll get there well before that flight. And if there are any controllers... Oh, hey, Ivan, yes, they updated the experiment. I think they update the experimental almost every day, but I'm not sure. It might just be rudimentary bug fixes. There hasn't been anything new since the voice packs. And now that we're approaching 19,000 and we're not expecting turbulence, I'll turn the seatbelt signs off and we'll see if we'll get another announcement. I don't hear one. Alright, we're about to hit Sunti, make our turn to Onagi. Not to be confused with Unagi. Alright, so then in about 2 minutes we'll clear ourselves up to 39,000. We'll just get that altitude ready to go. It's going to be a beautiful morning. And now we have that tailwind pushing us along. Modest increase to our ground speed. And as we approach Onagi, another 8 miles or so, we'll have to cruise. And then we can take a breather to chat. Alright, starting our turn. And clear ourselves up. Thrust climb, open climb to 390. So I do want to keep an eye on something here. So there are 3 speeds that are available to us here. On the left screen, the PFD, we have our indicated airspeed, which is showing 290 knots. On the right screen, the ND, we are showing a ground speed, well, we're showing a true airspeed of 395 knots and a ground speed of 401. So, my understanding of these various speeds are the indicated airspeed is based, I think, just on how much air is passing through the pitted tube. And as you get higher and the air pressure is less, the air is less dense, less air is getting into the sensor. So your indicated airspeed is actually less than your true airspeed, which is pressure adjusted. So it takes your altitude and adjusts your speed to give you a sense of how fast you're actually moving through the air, and that is 406 knots now. And you see that's going up as we increase altitude. But our indicated airspeed is staying the same as the air pressure decreases. The ground speed is simpler to understand. It is the true airspeed plus or minus the vector of wind in your direction of travel. So we have a rear right crosswind of 15 knots, kind of flying across the body of the plane, but it is pushing us an additional 8 knots faster across our track on the ground. So that is the 3 speeds. So if you're trying to figure out how long it's going to take us to get from Melbourne to Sydney, you'd use ground speed. Yeah, usually when you're getting ATC instructions, you're either adjusting your Mach, which is this number down here, or your airspeed, which is this tape here. All right, let's get some more foresight on our routing. So I think that's our alternate there, Yankee Sierra Charlie Bravo. So let's look up what airport that is. Yankee Sierra Charlie Bravo. Canberra Airport in Australia. International Airport. Oh, serving Australia's capital city. I actually didn't realize Sydney was not the capital. That's a good, beautiful airport. And naturally, as a seat of government, the airport serves all regional capitals. Very cool. Oh, you know, and we still have our fix for the missed approach programmed in there. So let's go ahead and just get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. Alright, so speed continuing to increase. Indicated airspeed is still 290 knots. But our true airspeed is continuing to increase as well. Oh, and the winds have changed. So now we're actually getting a bit of a headwind. That's annoying. Oh, no. Alright, somehow we're still getting some kind of forward momentum benefit from this direct crosswind. I guess that's kind of in our direction of travel. We're not going due. See, we are crabbing a little to the left to compensate, and that's pushing us to the right. So yeah, so we are probably getting some forward vector of tailwind there. Let's see how our arrival time has adjusted. Yeah, wow, we gained half an hour just by increasing altitude and increasing speed. So we are, I mean, roughly 8 minutes away from doing our descent prep, even though we're not even at cruise yet. But we'll be at cruise. At this current rate of climb, we'll be at cruise in about 4 minutes. All right. Getting some bumps. Oh. Yeah, I think that's enough to throw the seatbelt sign on for now. I was hoping to hear a crew announcement when I turned the seatbelt sign on, but nope, did not happen. Still pretty cool view. See the Qantas kangaroo there. Oh, but no, but that's some shimmy. That was not in the flight plan. Out of curiosity, we're inbound to Snowy. And let's see. Shear rate of 1. Nuh-uh. Weather's changing. I guess that's to be expected when you're flying around sunrise. is impacting our rate of climb, although that will degrade as we climb into thinner air. It is kind of going a little bit all over the place at the moment. Right. Still getting jostled around a bit. Let's see. Yeah, it seems to be better at the ceiling. At least the winds are, marginally. So we should just keep going to 390, but it's pretty turbulent. I wonder actually if that step climb was designed to help us avoid the turbulence. We're about 70 miles from Snowy. We'll be getting to 39000 a bit early, but hopefully as we get closer to Snowy, it'll get a bit less bumpy. Alright, here we go. Mach Alt Star. And Alt Cruise. And we're expecting to arrive at 1/2 the hour. It's just about 1850, so I think it is fine to start our approach brief. So first, let's take a look at our approach options.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, your captain speaking. We've just reached our cruising altitude for the flight. As it's getting settled in, I do want to remind you to please keep your seat elbows clear from the aisle as the flight attendants will be coming to leave the cabin with galley cards shortly. Also, one more reminder to please refrain from congregating to the front galley where the flight deck door is located. Thank you.
Cool. Did not hear a word of that. Alright, so our terminus waypoint is Ancub. So let's take a look. We'll get rid of these charts since we don't need them anymore. And we'll take a look at Sydney charts. So various stars. Let's actually take a look at these. Alright, so nothing from Ancub, but we do kind of intercept the O'Dale 7 approach. We might be close enough for an ILS straight in. And we're expecting runway 7. So that kind of lines us up well for runway 7. So let's take a look at runway 7 ILS. And Ancub is the initial approach fix. Yeah, so we don't need to fly a star. We could just program in the ILS for runway 7. Sorry, yeah, runway 7. And kind of go from there. So I'll pin this. The next thing we'll want to do is just confirm that the weather makes runway 7 make sense. So let's go ahead. We'll do this through the McDo tonight. We'll go to ATSU. We'll do a weather request, since there won't be an ATIS on VATSIM tonight. And we'll just get the weather for all of our airports and send. And stand by. I'll be back in a moment. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Sure you guys don't mind though. Alright, but by now we should have gotten our message. So let's take a look at our messages, and there it is. And let's see. So, for Sydney, as of 1830 Zulu, so this is nice and recent, winds 190 at 7. Doing the math in my head. A bit of a tailwind, right? Because 90, it'd be like one, oh no, yeah, no, more of a tailwind. Interesting. So do we want runway 7? I'm going to just check the real world ATIS for Sydney right now. Let's see. Wow, they have their own Twitter account. Sydney Airport ATIS. Alright, so from 9 minutes ago, information Bravo. Runway 16 left in R for arrivals and departures. Which, for the wind, makes sense. Alright, so we're going to change up our flight plan a bit here. Let's take a look at Sydney Airport, see what runways we're dealing with. We'll just choose the longest one. Where's the airport info? I just saw it. Here we go. All right, so we were expecting runway 7, but now we're suggesting 16 right or left. 16 right is very long. That must be for the A380. We'll take it. So let's plan for 16 right. So we'll take another look at the approach options. Do that overlay again. And for 16, again, I'm not sure, that feels like a really long detour. Let's look at the oh yeah, no, sorry, let's choose our runway here. So 16 right. I want the ILS. No, not that vector. I want the ILS. I want the ILS. Oh my god. I'll just do it from here. Show me the charts list. 16 right, ILS. There's a bunch of ILS charts. Let's see what these are for. Cat 2 and Cat 1, Cat 2. I'm feeling this one, since we're doing at least a Cat 2. Alright. So Erden is the initial approach fix there. So I think we'll vector ourselves. We're effectively going to be flying a downwind for 16. And how much time? Sorry, wrong plate. So Erden is about 11 miles, so it's a fairly quick final, but should be fine. Let's look at the arrivals to, this is all for runway 7. Well, first let's change this. So ILS 16 right. Here's ANCUB, there's the initial approach fix. Arrivals. Yeah, we'll vector. It will be too complicated to do the star. So we may just want to add another waypoint. What would be a good? I guess Papa, Sierra Papa, and then Pen H. Or HSY to just give us a nice wide berth so we're nice and straight. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So we'll do Whiskey Sierra Tango to HSI. So let's go to flight plan. And Whiskey Sierra Tango. And then Hotel Sierra Yankee. And then from there, we'll do an ILS 16 right. So make sure there's only one option. No star. And no transition. So just to confirm, HSY, then Erden, which is the initial approach fix. That's right. Get rid of that. And I think we're good. Let's see how that looks on the box. So there's that turn. Will be nice and straight by Erden. Seems Nasho is kind of so I think from Nerig we'll go direct to Ancub. We don't need to do this turn, I don't think. We're getting really liberal with our flight planning here, by the way. That would get us along the coast. You know, for scenery's sake, we'll just keep it that way. That looks pretty good to me. Alright, we should start planning our top of descent. So let's take a look. So again, we're not flying a star, so we need to just be at what? 3,000 feet by Erden. So, using our calculator here from where we are, from 39,000 to 3,000 we need 113 miles. Let's give us 120 miles from Erden. So how do I get to the fixes page? So Erden. And radius of 120 miles. And there we go. So let's see, the real world QNH on that ATIS is 1014. What did we have on our messages here? 1014. So that at least matches. I'll go ahead and print this. Let's see the winds. They're saying 140 at 8. I'd say close enough. And expect instrument approach and wet conditions. Just looking to see if there's anything special about a wet landing for an A320. Let's see. All right. I think we should be fine on that approach. Not too concerned about the wet. Not too concerned about the wet runway. Print out. It did. Let's get that up there. And go back to performance. So let's just make sure. All right, well, our top of descent is getting closer. It's about 60 miles away. So let's go ahead. We'll program the arrival information once we're a bit closer. What's our new estimated time of arrival? Yeah, we lost about 3 minutes with the adjustments, but I think this will work out better. Alright, let's do rad navs now. I don't need to wait for that. So, for the 16 right approach, we have the ILS, and only the ILS, so no additional rad navs would be necessary. Misapproach, though. It's just vector tracks. Yeah, just vector tracks. Okay, so don't need to worry about that. In terms of waypoints or VORs, got some pappies on this. And there's our minimums, pretty standard minimums, so that's all good there as well. Looking at the runway itself, it is super long. So I'd say we'd probably exit a kilo. And we'll take Bravo to the stands. And let's see, 10.9C. Those are all just the coordinates. 10.9C. Wait, what happened? There we go. Oh, I see, the plate's kind of sideways. So I need to look at, I'm going to tag this, I need to look at this again to get my orientation correctly. Oh, I see, okay. So these are all the domestic terminals, internationals on the left side, so yes, we'll get off a kilo, we'll take Bravo, maybe Charlie 2, and let's plan to park. Let's do 35. Do Bay everything is falling. Bay 35. All right. Starting to get close now to our top of descents. Is that sun gonna peak? Giving us a bit more of a push now. That's pretty. Definitely going into some weather though, eh? I'll check and see if there's an updated METAR. Oh, it's destination data. How nice. Well, we will do that actually as soon as we get top of descent. We'll quickly request another METAR in case they're updating it on the half hour because of the weather. Clear that reminder because we'll wait for that latest weather report to put in destination data. Meantime, I'll get our FMC ready to take us down to 3,000. Company message. And yes, updated. Winds 210 at 6 knots. And 16 right. Yeah, that still works. And QNH is 1014. Temperature is 20 and 18. So we'll go ahead and print this one out as well. Use the latest data. Alright, so QNH 1014. Temperature is 20 degrees. Winds are 210 at 6. Transition altitude. Uh, 110. Remember, we always use level for descent and altitude for ascent. And we'll do a landing, full flaps. Radio minimums are 100 feet. We saw that from the chart prior. So that's all set. And down we go. Thrust idle, open descent. We'll set auto brake to low.
From the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen, as you may have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination. Now would be a good time to wrap up any business you need to take care of as we prepare for our approach. If you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated until the aircraft arrives safely at the gate. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival.
Just gliding down at Sydney. It's really nice. Set our TCAS to below. Although I don't think there's any traffic. We haven't checked VATSIM in a bit. Oh, there is a New Zealand flight in pre-flight. Actually, oh wait, there's a couple. Yeah, there are 2 flights in pre-flight for New Zealand, so we'll have to we'll definitely use Unicom. Because depending on how far along they are, they may still be down there when we arrive. And since we have basically cleared ourselves below transition level, we'll go ahead and adjust our QNH to local QNH 1014. And let's see if that jives with the Sydney ATIS Twitter account, which I still think is hilarious. Information Charlie 1015. And the real Sydney is showing a wet tarmac. It's our current estimated time of arrival. About 17 minutes. Those who slow down, that will probably increase slightly. You see our ground speed is starting to drop as we descend, even though our indicated airspeed is staying very constant. It's definitely getting brighter. Super pretty. It's like a commercial. Alright, we're now about 60 miles from the airport. I think that's the sound of people going to the bathroom. Those clacking sounds. That must get really annoying for a pilot if you're able to hear who's coming in and out of the bathroom right behind the cockpit door. I have surround sound down here in the basement, and I swear every time I hear that clanking sound, I swear it's something in my house. I'm alone at the house right now, so like nothing should be making sounds. Wow, that like lavender purple, that is just really pretty. That's so nice. Sometimes I can't handle it with the sim. Here come the clouds. What? My scenery just got cut off to offline mode? Come on. That's annoying. Alright, start slowing down, do our 10,000 feet checks. Landing lights are coming on. Set the constraints. Slowing down to 250 knots before we continue our descent. What is happening with the bandwidth? Alright, dude, bandwidth is totally fine. I'm telling my network to prioritize my device. See where those let's see if those planes are still in pre-flights. Looks like they are. Oh, thick clouds now. All right, let's do our approach checklist. Briefing is confirmed. ECAM status is checked. Landing distance is confirmed. Seatbelts are on. Bow ref is set. Minimums are set. Engine mode is set to normal. Approach checklist complete. Nice coastal view. We'll see if we get some shots of Sydney downtown, but it may be too cloudy. Forget what the ceilings were. 1700s are pretty low. Yeah, no, the breakthrough is always awesome. I'm not sure if you were still with us, Ivan, but the sunrise before we hit the cloud layer was also quite nice. You can kind of get a sense of the lavenders that we're getting. Alright, so we're getting to 3,000 well before we had to. But hopefully we'll be repaid with views. Speed alt start. And alts.
2,500.
Radio altimeter's alive.
2,500.
That might be annoying because we're going to be at this level for a bit.
2,500.
Nothing we could do about it. This is the altitude where we need to intercept the ILS. Alright, so airport is about 10 miles to our right. Can't really see anything. It is a rainy morning in Sydney. Alright, so I think we'll enter our approach phase when we hit...
New Zealand 1102 pushing back from stand 31.
Okay, so the New Zealand flights are starting to push back. So we'll see. We'll see if they get in our way. But yes, when we hit Whiskey Sierra Tango, we'll start configuring the approach. And this turn is a bit wonky, so we'll definitely want to slow down before then. Looks like there are speed restrictions there, but I didn't see that on the approach plate. Oh, nope, they are there. They are there. We have to be at 185 knots by Erden. So we'll just watch out for that. Shouldn't be too hard to slow down after Whiskey Sierra Tango. Yep, IMC conditions if I've ever seen them. Alright, let's get our landing system on. Picking up the ILS just fine. Just check things are in the right place. Brakes are set. TCAS set to below. Yep, everything's where we want them there.
New Zealand question. Sydney traffic, New Zealand 104 taxiing to Alpha 116 right.
Ah, so they're heading to runway 16 right. So we'll see. We may have to go around. What's the initial climb out? Come on, load. It's 3,000. Okay. Alright, at this point, let's activate the approach phase, start slowing ourselves down. Sydney traffic, Qantas 9084, about 12 miles west of Sydney International, approaching the ILS, runway 16 right. Sydney traffic. Alright, speed checked, flaps 1.
2,500.
City traffic at New Zealand 1102 taxi to runway 16 right, Sierra Alpha.
Let's see this turn here. Speed check flaps 2.
$2,500.
City traffic, New Zealand 104, lining up 161.
He should be out of our way by the time we get there.
2,500. 2,500.
Yeah, no kidding, Ivan. I should spend more time appreciating it. I'm just worried I'm going to run up behind this New Zealand flight. So I'm just like staring at my instruments. All right. All right, at this point, we'll activate the approach. Glide slope and loc are armed. Cat 3 dual autopilot. We'll bring that gear down. Configure our lights. Ground spoilers are armed.
City traffic, New Zealand 104, departing 161.
Loc, intercept. Sydney traffic, Qantas 9084 on 10-mile final, established runway 16 right. Sydney traffic. Speed checked, flaps 3.
City traffic at New Zealand 1102 departing runway 16 right.
And flaps full. Let's slow down as much as we possibly can.
$2,500.
Alright, autopilot is set for this approach if needed, but I think those New Zealand flights will be out of our way.
2,500.
So the ceiling should be at 1700. We'll see if we break through. I haven't actually done an auto land yet, but I have a feeling we'll be able to see the runway in time. All right, let's do our landing checklist. Cabin crew. I really want to advise them.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
There we go. Cabin crew's advised. Auto throttles and speed. Auto brake is set to low. ECAM memo landing no blue. Landing checklist complete.
City traffic at New Zealand 1102, airborne passing through 2000.
Alright, so the runway is clear. So we are good to land, and we are starting to break through just about 1700. So the METAR is matching the conditions. Ivan, have you done the auto land in the 320? Been a little hesitant to try it. Alright, we got visual of the runway now. I'll keep it on autopilot just for a few moments longer. I want to get a good sight on those PAPI lights before I take it off. Oh, that's cool. Oh my god. That's so cool. Alright. The autopilot is coming off just now. Really enjoyed that view. Like, just sometimes, oh, wow. Come on. Alright, I could go visual from here. As the PAPIs go behind the clouds. Come on. Alright, I'll just follow the instruments.
400.
And you know what? We ended up with a tailwind. We changed runways
300.
so this wouldn't happen. Get back in center line.
100 above. 200.
Continue.
Minimum.
Continue.
50, 40, 30, 20. Retard. 10. 5.
Reverse green. Decel. $70 knots. Rolling out. We'll go to the next exit. Just a little too fast for that one. Alright, here comes our exits. This is a wet runway. Yeah, Ivan, that really was. That was a nice final approach. Even this is gorgeous. Sydney traffic, Qantas 9084 is clear of runway 16 right. And to those pilots heading for Auckland this morning, have an excellent flight. Sydney traffic.
Sydney traffic at New Zealand 1102, thank you very much for that, and I hope you had a great landing.
Alright, so let's get our APU on. Adjust our lights here. Clean up a bit. Retract flaps. Disarm the spoilers. And let's do a single engine arrival. I haven't done that before, but we'll have to wait about 3 minutes after landing before we turn off engine 2 and turn on the yellow electric pump. Let's figure out where we are. I can't see that sign. I should have paid attention on the way in, but I believe we want alpha all the way to the stand. I guess it depends where we got off. I guess we were by Bravo 8. I think I see a sign for Bravo 10. But let's just make a left turn here. I think that is Bravo. And then we'll take a right on Gamma. And then into domestic 2. So after lane checklist, flaps are retracted, spoilers disarmed, APU is on, radar. Gotta come off. And get that to standby. Pack 2 we can turn off. And for a single engine arrival, let's shut down engine 2 and yellow pump on. And just to see the hydraulic system in action, there's the electric pump, so we are still getting, you see engine 2 is off, but we're still getting pressure to the hydraulics. And that's just saving us some engine life. And as you notice, it's actually making it harder to maintain taxi speed. So I'm going to give a little extra thrust to engine 1. But what I like about this is that it allows some more fine control the speed of our taxi. Because otherwise it will just keep creeping up. So this is a handcrafted airport, which means it will look more realistic than the procedurally generated airports. You can already tell by the way that, oh my god, so pretty! As you can tell by the way that tower is rendered, which is gorgeous. Alright, and we are on Bravo. Okay, good. We're going to cross a runway first. Wow, the weather here today just looks so good. Wow. That's just nuts. What a morning. I do have to give a lot more left rudder with a single engine taxi, I'm noticing. Oh, crossing that runway. Yeah, so I want that next turn off onto Gulf. can't read, still can't read the signs. But I'm going to assume this is Gulf. Ah, that was a beautiful turn. Alright, we're looking for Bay 35. Let's go that next left, actually. Alright, I think Bay 35 should be one of these on the right. Yep, kind of in the middle. We'll see if it's well marked. Usually only on the pay airport sceneries do you get something that's like well marked. Like there's no ground markers. I'm just so desensitized to crashing into vehicles right now because I just know nothing happens. Alright. That's where we're going. We'll turn it to there. Lost all of our momentum. Oh, it's a little early. But I realized still had these bright lights on. Inch up just a little bit. Alright, parking brake is on. Get that jetway going. And shut down that engine. Seatbelt sign off. AP bleed on. Alright. Welcome to Sydney, everybody. Parking checklist. Electric pump is coming off. APU bleed is on. Engines are off. Seatbelt signs are off. Exterior lights as required, so the beacons are coming off. And the strobes are off. Seatbelts, fuel pumps are coming off as well. Parking brakes are on. Parking checklist completes. Alright, there goes hydraulic system powering down. Let's see if we can hear folks deplaning. Let's go back into the cabin. I still can't hear anything. Can I control the volume? No. Interesting. Anyway, they're there. They're subtle. They add a nice little touch. Oh, let's turn this off. And the chrono. Yeah, it's about an hour and a half from takeoff to gate. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and do our... So go ahead and secure the aircraft. So we'll start shutting down all the lights. And start turning off our screens. I can turn anti-skid off. Clear the caution. And clock is off. Go down here. Turn these displays off. We can get the APU bleed and get external power on and APU off. Can disarm these lights and turn crew supply off. And get these screens shut down. Get these lights down. ATC to standby, that's a standby. Thrust levers are idle. Can shut down the radios. Rudder trim resets. Flaps are retracted, that's all set. We'll unlock the door. Parking brakes on. That's looking pretty nice. And we'll just wait for that APU to completely shut down. We'll go ahead and turn off that. And just appreciate this gorgeous scenery around us. I think before we wrap up completely for the afternoon, while we wait for that APU to fully shut down, let's go back to the drone camera, get some speed on it, and we'll do a quick flyover the Sydney airport. Check out the custom scenery. So this is the domestic terminal. It's pretty cool. Reminds me a bit of LAX, actually, the way they have this kind of U shape. Some warehouses over here, different hangars. Oh, little waterway, little pond. Coming over to the other side, this is the international terminal. So, like, the Microsoft handcrafted airports, they're nice, but some of the payware stuff is just on another level. I mean, this is cool, like seeing all this luggage and cargo equipment. Excuse me. You get some parallax effect on the windows, right? There's like a little bit of a slight interior thing going on, but I don't know. Like, after experiencing some of the payware options, like, there's definitely a value add to buying some of the scenery. But still, I appreciate this over the programmatically generated ones. And there's downtown Sydney in the distance. And let's head back to our plane. Our APU should be down by now. It sounds nice and quiet. We have some nice droop. Look at the wing droop. Because the hydraulics are off. Again, very nice detail. And yeah, so nothing really left to do now except shut down external power and get those batteries off. And we're back to cold and dark. And that's it. That's our flight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was, I really did. The weather coming into Sydney was just incredibly epic. Like, I think I'll get one more shot of this before I fully shut down and sign off. But I've been Mike November Whiskey. We're heading north through Australia on our way back across the world. Hope to join you guys next time. Thanks for joining us today. And I realized nav and logo, those are off. They're off anyway because the batteries are off, but still got to keep this nice and neat. All right. I've been Mike November Whiskey. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you join us again next time. Pleasant travels.